Just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, it's No Focus in Retrograde with your host, Stu Pidasso.
Save our stacks. Save our stacks. We need to save the stacks from the terrible city council who want to tear them down. 3 stacks in a rock must remain a thing.
That's right, it's me, your host, Stu Pidasso, coming to you from beautiful Morro Bay. I've duct taped myself to the stacks because they're going to tear them down. The city council says, hey, they're too expensive to maintain, so let's tear those things down. That's something I just cannot let stand. These stacks have been here for a long, long time, and I don't want to see them go because, hey, I don't care what Johnny Knobs and all those other non-believers think. 3 Stacks in a Rock is a thing. There is a brewery called 3 Stacks in a Rock on the Embarcadero. There are t-shirts that say 3 Stacks in a Rock. And yes, people who live in Morro Bay, some of them, lovingly refer to the Morro Bay area as 3 Stacks in a Rock because those are the big iconic items. You have the rock, which is a gigantic volcanic plug, and I'll go into a little bit of history about what the rock is. And you also have the stacks. Now the stacks tower 450 feet above the ground, and that is huge. It's the tallest man-made structure in San Luis Obispo County. Amazing. And at the diameter, the bottom part, where I am, the stacks are 45 feet in diameter. That's why I duct taped myself to the stacks and I didn't chain myself. I can't afford 45 feet of chain. It was like hundreds of dollars. So I duct taped myself. And in retrospect, it was a very bad idea because I have been stuck here for 3 days. I have not been able to take a break. I can't get myself loose. And I'm sunburnt and covered in seagull poop. And so anyway, but it's been worth it. It's been worth it if I could save these stacks. Now, let's go into a little bit of the history of the stacks here. But first, let's take a break. Today's podcast has been brought to you by 3 Stacks in a Rock Brewing Company. That's right, 3 Stacks in a Rock. They took over the saddest aquarium in the world. They made a beautiful brewery out of it. And I have trouble saying brewery because my lips are all chapped from sitting out in the sun all this time. Brewery. They made a beautiful brewery. They made a beautiful drinking establishment out of it. And it's a great place to go there and have a drink. They told me if I did this spot for them, they would bring me a free beer. And I've been waiting. It's been 3 days.
Hey guys, where's my beer? I did the spot. Where's my beer?
3 Stacks in a Rock. It's a thing. It's a brewery. And it's beautiful. Go there and get your drink on. Back to the show. Just can't reach my water bottle. Back to the stacks. Okay, so these beautiful stacks became operational. Oh my God, I've been out in the sun too long. These beautiful stacks came into operation in 1955. At their peak, they generated 650 megawatts of electricity. That's not quite enough to power a time-traveling DeLorean, but it powered a lot of the houses in the Central Valley and, the neighboring coastal areas. And it was operational, and PG&E was happy, and someone else bought it. And then it got shut down in 2014. Now, like I said, the stacks tower 450 feet in the air. And that's gigantic. That's really big. You got to see these stacks to realize, dang, those things are big. It's not pyramid big, but it's the tallest thing around. And whenever you're traveling towards Morro Bay, you will see the stacks before you see anything else, just about. And they have red lights blinking on the top, and it's quite pretty. Back in the day when it was operational, you would sometimes see the steam coming out of the top, and it was, this is man-made power. It kind of reminded me of the cover album of Animals by Pink Floyd. But anyways, I digress. So like I said, when I went to buy my chain to chain myself to this tower, I told the guy it was 45 feet in diameter. And a diameter is when you just cut something in half, travel straight through it. It's not around, it's straight through it. That's diameter. And neither one of us could do math very well. And we've realized we would need a lot of chain. It was going to cost me hundreds of dollars, and I knew that the no focus radio hour would not reimburse me. So I decided to use duct tape instead. So we got the duct tape, and I made a little duct tape suit and taped myself directly to the side of the power plant's stack and the north stack, and I've been stuck here for 3 days. At the top of the stack, it's like 17 feet in diameter. So how big around that is, I don't know. But I would hate to have to change the light bulb on these stupid things. So it's going to cost the city of Morro Bay millions of dollars to tear these things down, because eventually they will become unstable and have to be taken down. And to maintain them would cost about $1 million a year or so. And these are conservative estimates, but it would cost a lot of money a year. And Morro Bay has enough trouble trying to, like, fill in the potholes that it develops in the ground, not in the stacks. But I digress. Other cities like San Francisco have made extreme sports venues out of some of their large structures like this. I don't really see Morro Bay doing that, because you can't base jump off of these stacks, because you would probably end up in the Embarcadero or in the water or smacking into the rock, which is not very far away. And climbing out on the outside of it, I don't know. I just don't see making it an extreme venue. I would love to see the stacks stay, though. I would love to see them find a way to be able to maintain the stacks and keep them going.
Do you mind taking a picture of me and my wife over here? Just take a picture
I'm
of us.
a little bit busy right now. Do you
No,
mind?
I can see that. It's just, it won't take you any time at all. Just take a picture of me and my wife by this big rock. Do you think, can you do
Oh,
that?
God, let me see if I can loosen my hand here. Give me your phone. All right. Say, stacks.
Say what? Stacks? Not that stupid. Say cheese, honey. Say cheese. Okay.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Okay, there you go. There's your picture with beautiful Morro Rock in the background. They're trying to tear down these awesome stacks. If you have time, maybe you could help me out by duct taping yourself.
That sounds ridiculous. We got more things to look. We want to go see otters. Okay, we're going to go see the sea otters.
Can you at least hand me my water bottle, sir? Oh, jeez. Now, a company's coming in. This company, and it's called Vistra. Vistra has a Morro Bay energy storage project that they want to do. And they told Morro Bay, hey, I'll tell you what, we'll get rid of these stacks for you. We'll take them down. We'll pay the price because, we're good people, right? No, they're not good people. They're taking down the stacks, and they want they want a fair hearing on their project that they want to develop. And it's called the Morro Bay Power Plant Battery Project Proposal. And they want the city council to give them a free hearing. Now, Vistra probably has pretty deep pockets, and they're going to be, making it very nice for the council members, so they approve this project. And you would think, oh my God, so they can get all the surplus electricity that everyone's producing when it's not being used, and they could store it in this battery, and it's going to be the largest battery plant in the world. It consists of 3 buildings, and in these 3 buildings, they are going to store and create 2,400 battery racks. And these battery racks are going to be able to hold all the surplus electricity that California is producing. Note, we're not making a lot of surplus electricity. We have to import a lot of electricity. Now, the idea is interesting, but the way they're doing it, they want to create a lithium-ion battery. Yeah, 3 gigantic lithium-ion batteries that could hold like 600 megawatts. And the problem with lithium-ion batteries is they're extremely toxic, and they could explode. They could cause a fire. So for all of those reasons, you wonder, why are you putting this in a coastal community? It's going to create jobs, and it's you're going to get extra tax revenue, which is a big... Oh, Morro Bay is going to get all excited about that. But it's really a high-risk venture, because having a lithium-ion battery on the coast, and it's like within a quarter of a mile from the water. If there were a fire, there's so many problems. It's mind-boggling. Like, even the rock is a bird sanctuary, and if there was a fire, all those birds would just die. And it would be horrible. But they think they're going to power like 450,000 homes, and I don't know. I just don't think that having a gigantic lithium-ion battery there is a very good idea for the coast. Back to the stacks. So I'm here to save the stacks because I would like to see the city of Morro Bay figure out a way to save the stacks because they are so iconic. And some people even have like 3 stacks in a rock tattoos on their arms. And I think I should be able to get those people to join me in my fight.
Save the stacks! Save the stacks! Everybody, come! I have more duct tape! Duct tape yourself to the stacks and let's save these stacks! Don't let the City Council of Morro Bay tear them down! Let's fight together!
Why are these idiots just staring at me? Don't just stare at me. Come on!
Working together, we can save the stacks! Join me in my fight! Duct tape yourself to the stacks! We can save the stacks working together!
Oh, great. All I get are blank stares and... Oh, good. That guy flipped me off. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about the rock after this quick break. 3 stacks in a rock. It's a brewery. They have beer. They haven't brought me my beer for mentioning our sponsor, 3 Stacks in a Rock. They're not an official sponsor. I just made a deal with the bartender. Maybe he thought it was a joke.
Where's my beer? Larry! You promised! Don't be a jerk!
Anyways, they're on the Embarcadero. Beer is good. Of course, I wouldn't know right now because I'm dying. But hey, 3 Stacks in a Rock. Brewery. Drink there.
That beer you promised would be really good right about now.
And, oh, God. The sun is just... It's been 3 days. Oh, God. Okay, Morro Rock. So Morro Rock towers above the water 581 feet. And it's one of 13 volcanic plugs. Now, if you want to see the rest of the volcanic plugs, you just drive into San Luis Obispo, and as you go along, you will see these gigantic mountains that just don't look right because they're very jagged and rocky-like. And those are the other volcanic plugs, and there are 13 of them. And they're actually just remnants of extinct volcanoes because a volcanic plug is kind of like the dome that formed over a volcano that started to form. And but Morro Rock is made of indigenous rock, some volcanic rock, and worst of all, petrified bird feces. Because a lot of birds have been on Morro Rock forever, just hanging out. And when birds hang out, they poop. And so a lot of the rock is petrified bird feces, which is really pretty awesome. Now, the indigenous tribes always thought that Morro Rock was a sacred site. They have legends about, how they would climb to the top of the rock occasionally on special occasions, and 2 birds attacked a serpent that wrapped itself around the base of Morro Rock. But right now, nobody is allowed to climb to the top of Morro Rock except for one indigenous tribe but that's under dispute too. If you decide you're going to climb to the top of Morro Rock, they will send a helicopter out to rescue you, and you will be paying a large fine and all of the rescue fees associated with the helicopter going out. So climbing up to the rock is like the worst thing you could do. The rock didn't always look like that. The rock was actually rounded. It was completely round, like a dome. It was like a volcanic dome over the top of where a volcano was coming up. And but the rock was quarried. So they, because it's a sacred indigenous site for the Indians, so companies come in and say, hey, let's quarry it and let's start chopping this thing up. So the part that you see from the Embarcadero, the side of the rock that you see from the Embarcadero is kind of sheer and straight up and down just about because they quarried all of that. And then they decided, hey, this is not a great idea. This is kind of a cool site that brings notoriety to the area. So it was declared a historic landmark in 1968. But they used the material from the rock that they quarried, and they used some of it to build the breakwater that creates Morro Bay. So all the water in Morro Bay is super calm. So if you wanted to rent a kayak and just treasure around the bay, you can do that because the water is really calm. A lot of sea otters are out there because, you know, they don't have to deal with the waves or sharks or a lot of things. So they'll come into Morro Bay because the water is very calm. If you go out in a kayak, you could even see sea flaps. What are those? Stingrays. Stingrays, you could see them swimming underneath your kayak sometime. And a lot of seals come in there too because it's just a break for them. They can come over there and fish and relax and not worry too much about sharks. I only heard one story how a shark was inside the bay, and it was a great white, a small great white, but it was only in there for a little while, then it left. But anyways, so also another funny thing about the rock is when it's hot in Fresno, you get a marine layer. In other words, it's a lot of fog. A lot of fog will come in, and the fog will make the rock look like it just disappeared, like it's not even there. And so whenever you walk down the Embarcadero, which is where all the tourists go to see all the little shops and be by the bay and all that stuff, they'll look around for the rock and they'll get all upset because they cannot see it. They can see the stacks, of course, but they can't see the rock because it's behind all the fog. And it's really funny when they get all mad because of that. The rock is also a preserve for the peregrine falcon. And the peregrine falcons will nest on the rock, so it's one of the big reserves for them right now. And so that's the rock. It's like, you know, a lot of people wonder what it is. It's just a big volcanic plug because volcanoes started to form. It formed the dome, and that was about it. So, but that's the rock. So 3 Stacks in a Rock. Hey, you know, if you want to go to the 3 Stacks in a Rock brewery, a lot of places use the stacks and the rock in their logos to say, hey, this is Morro Bay. Now they're just, you know what, in the future they're just going to do the rock. That's going to look ridiculous. The rock and the stacks have been iconic to the area since the 1950s. We need to preserve this. We need to preserve our history. Don't just flush it down the toilet for lithium-ion batteries. That's ridiculous. Join me. I got plenty of duct tape. Come to Morro Bay and join me.
Join me. Join my fight. Let's save 3 stacks in a rock. Save the stacks. Save the stacks.